So this is the recipe from the Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. You just need the ingredients, and I always double it. It's also posted on my Dropbox in my recipes, Judy's recipes. If you would like a link to that page, you're more than welcome, if it would help you along. So Marcianne, this is how you make hot cross buns. First of all, we get our trusty recipe out, the new cookbook from Better Homes and Gardens that Nanny has given all of us. And then we're going to start putting it together. I always double the recipe, which makes 36 buns because they just go so quickly because they're so goddamn good. Anyway, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to put the milk and the oil into the microwave. The milk, the oil, and the sugar and the salt. The milk, the oil, the sugar, and the salt. And we're going to warm it up in the microwave. So here we go again. We're getting the stuff out of the microwave. And the reason we do the heating in the microwave is so that we can get the yeast going. We want to make sure it's not too hot though. Because if it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast. So it's got to be tepid. So just, tepid water, like you can put your elbow into it. Not that you would, but you can put your finger in there and you can hold it. So you don't want it to. If it's too hot, then you start adding your other stuff. So it's a bit warm, this one. And I did it at 2 minutes in the microwave. And it melts the sugar too. So that's good. So then we're going to put in the cinnamon. The recipe says that you're supposed to put in 1 teaspoon. I probably put in a single batch, I will put in 1.5 or 2, and in the big batch I double it, of course, obviously. So I don't just, says 2/3 of a cup of raisins or currants. Well, I use raisins, and I use a cup and a bit of raisins, and I use dried fruit peel. So you can get the colored stuff, just don't get it with the cherries in it. So I put sort of half of that and half of that, or you just use one whole multicolored one without cherries in it. And you get that in here too. And that sort of cools your stuff down. And you got your cinnamon, you get all that mixed in. That's starting now. It's just a nice warm temperature. So let's put a little bit of flour in here. So we're kind of making like we're not doing it the way it says in the book, that's for sure. So we'll get that mixed in, then we'll get our good wooden spoon. Let's get our yeast in. Now it calls for 2 packages of yeast. Well, buy it in the bottle. Buy the rapid mix, so the fast stuff. And use one of those packages is 1 tablespoon. So I don't like to use, trick it, hush now. There we go. Okay. So we get that mixed in. And I like to get it just sort of a little happening a bit. So I'm going to put in a bit more flour. I'm going to put in the eggs. Eggs I beat ahead of time. You put the beat eggs in. And I'm going to put a bit more flour. And I'm going to let it sit for 10 minutes. So I will be back in 10 minutes. I'm back. Anyway, I let it rise for about 10 minutes, sort of start the process. I just think it's good practice to do that. Let the things blend together, and gives a minute or 2 for the onion or the raisins to get some fluid into them. Plump them up a little bit. Anyway, now I'm adding flour, and I added enough flour until I didn't need the spoon anymore. And now I'm just kneading the heck out of it. When I finish kneading it, I'm going to take it out of the bowl, give the bowl a little, get the excess stuff out of there. Put a little oil in it. Turn the dough over on the oil so it's got oil, a little tiny bit of oil, you know, like 2 tablespoons of oil. And so it has oil on both sides. Then I'm going to cover it with a towel. And I'm going to let it rise probably in a warm place. And probably for an hour and a half. Maybe 2 hours. And then I will show you what to do next. Bye! Well, we're getting a bit of glare now because it's afternoon. Well, it's actually 7:20. So there's our doubled up size there. And we are going to crunch it down. Bucket in 2 because I'm doing a double batch. You don't need to bucket in 2 if you're doing a single batch. And we'll just slurp it over there and put some stuff on the counter. And what we want to do is sort of make it into a rectangle, all even in size, and try to get corners as much as you can. And we're going to bucket into 18 pieces. So we'll cut it in half, and then 3, and 3, and 3, on this side too. So we've got 6 strips, and now 3 6s are 18, so this one's going into 3 again. So 3, and we got a little bit too much on those ones, so we're going to, make them, the ones that are too small, you just add a little bit too. Okay, now we get our pan. And the pan's had a light spray of, very light spray of pan, where you can just grease it lightly. And we're just going to make little nerdy balls. And we're going to put them 3 across. And 6 down. And we're going to let them rise till, we'll cover them. We'll just do this one. We'll just get them all even sort of on there. Evenly. Or as evenly as you can, I guess. See, I have no makeup day today. It's kitchen day, garden day. It's a beautiful day. Halfway down here. Just push them all into the middle so they're round on the outside. And box your uncle. So we're going to cover them and let them rise till they're double in size. So they're, relatively big in the pan. They'll rise some more in the oven. So this time I'm thinking probably an hour. So 7:30, 7:20 now. We'll see what time it is when we go to the next stage. Okay? So cover them and leave them in a nice warm place like you did the bowl. Done? So it's 8:25, and so just over an hour. And we've got our doubled up buns. We get a sharp knife. Sharp knife. And we're going to cut X's. Crosses, because they're cross buns, right? So we're going to take this, And we're going to just lightly top the top because they're going to sink a tiny bit while we do this process. But they'll pop up again in the oven, so no worries. Turn them and do them the other way. Now they bake at 375, and it says for 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. Well, you're probably going to find that 12 minutes is enough. Don't overcook them. 12 minutes is probably tons. And then what we're doing is we're taking egg white that we've whipped up a little bit, so it's just so it's nice. It's a bit bubbly, but we're just lightly cutting them. And if you don't want to do the egg white on them, you don't have to. It just makes them shiny. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So the trick here is that you're not going to overcook them. They will burn easily, so I got a convection oven, so the heat's pretty even. You can put them on a higher rack in the oven so they don't get too brown on the bottom. So there you go. They're all ready to go into the oven. Okay? We'll be back. So remember the egg whites you have leftover. So we're going to use that for the icing, for making the crosses. If you're doing a regular 18, if you're doing 18, then you're using one. You're using one egg white, and if you got two, oh crap, gotta plug it in. If you're using a double batch, use 2 egg whites. So you want the consistency of the icing to be so you can pipe it. You don't want it too thick because you want to make it relatively easy to pipe, right? I have the Cremo here in case I make it too thick, which happens for sure. Everybody always thinks the icing's so great. Well, the trick is it's the egg white. Love the icing on your cross buns. Oh, you know what? I might just have it down flat here. So there's your, you want it still to be, so it's dripping off there a little bit, but not too much, right? So there's your, see that again? Without the glare. Okay? Okay. Get it off there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the piping bag. Now if you don't have a piping bag, what I used to do before I had a piping bag was I took a teaspoon and I would just teaspoon some icing onto the crosses. It's a bit of a pain though. A piping bag's nice, and if you really want to cheat, you can use these things. With the icing, this is a red one, but you know what I mean. Use a white one and get the tip for it. But you want a fat tip. Probably could even do it just right out of this without a tip. But that's cheating. This is the way to go. And you can get these at any kitchen store, and you just need I'm using that tip because it's the only one I got. If I don't have a big round open one. So we're going to let these things come out of the oven, and we're going to cool them a little bit. not too much, maybe 5 minutes. We'll cool them and then we'll pipe the icing onto them. Okay, see you shortly. Okay, it's icing time, and this is the final touch. So you push the icing down, fold the bag across the top of the icing, fold it across the top of the icing, keep the icing in there, and then we start to turn it. And as we turn it, the icing comes out, and away we go. And voila. Let them cool enough. Get the butter out. And as my old friend Johnny O used to say, and pig out. Not too much though. So, that's what we have. We have hot cross bun. Hot cross bun. Beautiful. Enjoy. Happy Easter.